Welcome to the No Limit Selling Podcast, where industry leaders share their advice on how you can become better, stronger, faster. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the No Limit Selling Podcast. And one of the reasons I do this is because I love learning new things. And today we're fortunate enough to have Nancy Calabrese here with us today. She is an expert at lead generation, cold calling. And the old joke that you've heard on this show many times is, how do you make a salesperson cry? Or how do you get a salesperson to shut up? Give them a telephone. And if you want to make them cry, make them do cold calling.
Right.
Nancy, welcome to the program.
Oh, I'm very excited to speak with you. And I never heard that one. You want to make a salesperson cry, but I love it. I love it.
And it's true. Like, we think it's the end of the world, or what will they say? What will they do? And I think just very much, there's two parts to any endeavor. One
Right.
part is skill set. If you don't have the skill set, you're not going to do that task well at all.
Right.
And the other aspect is mindset. And if you don't have the right mindset, you won't be able to execute the skills that you've learned, in which case you won't get the results you want. So if you want to be phenomenal at whatever you do, you need to have the right skills and the right mindset. And this is where you become a champion.
You have that 100%. I almost 100% of the people I meet, salespeople, hate doing what we love doing, which is pick up the phone and engage in communication with a stranger. And I liken this to networking face to face or phone networking. It's the same thing. The benefit of prospecting over the phone is it's more targeted. And it's cost effective because you're not traveling to and from. And you can be sure that you are at least reaching out to the people you want in your target audience.
And I think the data shows that if somebody is in the buying stage of buying something, and a cold caller calls in with a similar service, they go up to the top of the list in the selection criteria. Now, if someone is not looking for it and you call them up, and then basically you get on their radar, and you're not going to get someone that doesn't want it to buy something. So that's not going to happen. But so many people are afraid of actually reaching out. And one of the ways to, feel like you've been stabbed in the heart is this. Nancy, you're a customer, and I reach out to you and say, I've got this amazing service, and you go, hey, that's really nice, Umar, not now. And then I call you up 8 months later, and it's like, oh my God, Umar, I wish you would have called me a little bit sooner. We just signed up for that service. And it's like, it's because we did not follow up and we didn't stay in touch. And then we almost feel like we were cheated, but no, it's not the customer's fault. It's our fault for not staying in touch.
Yeah. I think it's important to have a professional, repeatable process. So here at One of a Kind Sales, we take a no as a not now, and we recycle the no's for every 90 days. So we are in front of our client's customer, target audience 4 times a year, each time for a 4-week period. And that seems that it does a couple of things. Keeps you top of mind, right? I mean, how many people don't follow up? As you said earlier, it takes 8 months for a follow-up, but you're not top of mind. So by professionally touching them throughout the year, they have an awareness and actually an appreciation. We get thank yous to my team gets thank yous for staying in front and not being that pushy salesperson to schedule an appointment when there's no need. We believe if there's no need, there's no sale.
And also, I would suspect that half the people that you interact with go something like this internally. I wish my salespeople would do that as well.
I can't tell you how many times my people have been approached by prospects because they're so well scripted, if you would, and they are mindful, conversation. A cold call can take anywhere between 4 to 9 minutes, and it should never be approached as a sales call. It's a call to determine, number one, are you on the phone with the decision maker? And number two, are they experiencing the pains that your client can solve? And at that point, we just basically shut up, and we want to hear them talk about their pains. But as I said earlier, if there's no pain, there's no sale. Thank you very much. Gee, but if we can't help you now, who do you know that might have an interest in learning more about what we do? And that's really important too, because we wind up getting a lot of referral business, just by asking that question.
Love that. And I would add something to your timeline that you gave, 4 to 9 minutes. I would say it's anywhere from 30 seconds to 9 minutes. And a good call is anywhere from 4 to 9 minutes. Because a lot of times you just call up and they're like, no, goodbye. And you go. And that's just part of the journey as well. So let's start breaking this down, Nancy.
Okay.
So before we do, what's a nice girl like you doing in a business like this? So how did you end up doing this? Like, what was your history that got you here?
Yeah. Well, I had always been told that I should go into sales in my 20s. And I finally took the leap in my 30s when I became a headhunter. And the only way to make a living was pick up the phone and have conversations. And I'm going to date myself. They didn't have fax machines then. There was no internet. Okay. We did it all via paper. There were no computers, to work off of. And so I spent 20 plus years in the recruiting business. I started my own recruiting firm back in 91, and that was during the height of a recession. And I found that, no matter what's going on in the economy, if you stick to the activities that will, be productive for you at the end of the day, you will get business. And then fast forward, we had a client that we had done business with for many years. I specialized in the insurance industry, and he asked us to do some appointment setting for their producers because there were 9 of them. And they hated doing, what we do so well, pick up the phone. I had 2.5 people assigned to that project. And in the first year, we set 300 appointments for that group. Yay,
Bravo.
yay. And then after that project was completed in about 2 years, I said, this is a need in the business community. And we had so much fun doing it that I launched. At that time, I called it One of a Kind Search, but it's One of a Kind Sales. And we do everything from data management to script development, and then launching the campaign and setting, and this is important, qualified appointments at the right time in conversation. So that's how I got into it.
I love that. So in today's climate, how important is cold calling today?
I think it's a very important marketing channel, and it should be a channel that's incorporated with every other marketing channel, the social media, the LinkedIn outreach, maybe for those Facebook outreach, email campaigns. Nothing beats the human conversation. And I don't think that's ever going to go away, because a lot is lost in typing, right? And emails, and you can't really tell how that person sounds in a given day. So I think it's very critical. And frankly, for those people that don't incorporate that as a marketing channel, they're leaving money on the table because somebody else is going to get that business.
Absolutely. So what are some key strategies to make cold calling effective? You can go like cold into it, or you could warm it up with something on LinkedIn. Like, what's a good, strong strategy to actually make your cold calling highly effective?
Yeah. A lot of people believe that they need to send an email or connect on LinkedIn before they pick up the phone. And I don't agree with that at all. The strategy is you start with a script. And I can give you an example of how we do it in a moment. But the script becomes internalized, but you always start with the script, right? So that you don't have to think about your delivery. And in our world, we basically admit one of two things. One of my caller will say, "Hi, this is Nora. And this is a cold call. If you want to hang up on me right now, okay. Or if you give me 30 seconds, I'll let you know why I'm calling. And you tell me if it's okay to continue." That's her strategy. She gets almost no hangups. And as a rule, we very rarely get hangups. My personal approach is, "Hi, Umar, this is Nancy Calabrese. We don't know each other." And so, there's a little giggle there. And then I pivot, "Gee, I'm not sure you're the person I need to speak with, but if you give me 30 seconds, I'll let you know why I'm calling. And you tell me if it's okay to continue. Does that sound fair?" People receive that very well. They really do. And then what happens is, then you have your commercial, if you would. "I work for, we do this." And, typically, Umar, when we speak with key executives like yourself, we often hear frustration, concern, annoyance, ABC. And I don't want to pretend to know your business, but is any of this relevant and worth the conversation? And then we stop because we need to hear them speak. And again, if there's no pain, we come back with 3 questions, "So you're sure you're not doing this? What are you doing that's so great? That's fantastic." We try to get them to talk. And then, again, we politely say, as I said earlier, obviously we can't be of assistance. Who do you know that might be more interested in listening to us today? Now, if they start speaking about their issues, that's when we empathize. That's when we become actors and actresses, right? Because in addition to understanding the problem, how long has it been going on? What have you done to correct the problem? How is this impacting you personally, right? We want to put the dagger in and kind of dig in deep. Then we pivot to set the appointment for our client. And then, there are other things that we will say before we close out the appointment. But we find it, again, my team, it's easy for them. And another thing I'm a big believer in is ongoing training. I have been a student of training all my career. And we have my team gets professionally sales trained each week in the art of deconstructing the cold call conversation. So that's I think an important gift, if you would, for all of us. And I even have my admin team involved in the training.
Smart. So how many people that are actively calling on your team?
We have 13 currently.
Nice. All US based or throughout the world?
All over the world. They all have amazing accents, and they are fluent in English. And I love that they're all over the world, because I learned so much about different countries, So
and cultures, yeah, absolutely.
And cultures, yeah.
So it sounds like, so here's what we use. It's like, so first use your name. Nancy, this is Umar from No Limit Selling. The reason I'm calling is to share with you how important mindset is to help people reach their full potential.
Okay.
And I'd like to set up an appointment with you. And we just kind of stop there and just don't let them say anything till we get to that level. And at that point they go, "Who's this again? Like, what do you want?"
Yeah.
So critique that for me. Like, what could we do better?
The first thing that came to my mind is it seems like your approach is more features and benefits.
True.
That, this is what I do. This is how we help, and we believe we can help you, and I'd like to come in. Our approach is the opposite of that, which is consultative selling. And as I said earlier, we try to disarm them in the beginning by creating that pattern interrupt. Hi, this is Nancy Calabrese. We don't know each other. And then we ask permission of the prospect. And then we go into the problems we solve. And then we stop it and we ask them, what do you think? What's going on in your world?
Any of this happening to you?
Yeah. And yeah. Features and benefits, I guess. Listen, you're in business, so it works. But I wonder.
This is more in terms of like, hey, this is what we do for companies. Right. So I agree with yours. Figuring out what's going on for them. So let's take a different tangent in terms of. So what are some of the common misconceptions that companies have about cold calling that we need to address?
That it doesn't work because it does.
What do you? So why do you think that is? Because there's a bunch of people, cold calling is dead. Never cold call again. We'll show you this surefire email that we'll send out that will get you clients, which of course is a lie. So why do you think it? I think it's a convenient truth. Oh, it doesn't work, so I don't have to do it. Do you think that's the reason? It's just a nice out, or why do you think
it doesn't work if it's not done consistently? That's number one. They feel that they're interrupting people, and yes, we are interrupting people. I mean, anybody in sales is really an interrupter. It's their mindset. It's their mindset that they are doing an awful thing. And yet, if they just, focus on doing it consistently, because the more you practice at it, the better you get at it. And I'm not suggesting that they cold call all day. They can do other marketing activities, but it should be a part of their cookbook daily, setting aside a couple of hours and making those dials. Additionally, you really want to have a CRM with either a predictable dialer that will, increase the number of dials that can happen. And another mistake I think a lot of salespeople make is when they get a prospect on the phone, they go into the sale. And that's not the point of a cold call. A cold call is really just to schedule a time to speak or meet. And then that allows them to do some research on their behalf. And that's another misnomer. People think they have to do a ton of research on a prospect before they call. And we live in voicemail land. So no, you don't have to do it. I say we have a one-on-one, we call it. So take a minute, just look at their website, check them out on LinkedIn. And then as the dialer is dialing, then you've got enough information that you need. You don't need to be an expert to be an effective cold caller.
Sure enough. So how many dials should be done per hour? And we're using software to do that. And how many conversations should people be having, do you think, in that hour? Because, a lot of times we hit voicemail. So, there's more dials than conversations. But what math are you using out there, Nancy?
Yeah, well, we use a software called VanillaSoft that has a predictive dialer, and we average about 20 dials an hour. And the number of conversations that we have within the hour really varies based on campaign and also the size of the organization. So, for instance, if we're charged with getting in front of CEOs of large companies, we are going to be involved with a lot of gatekeeper activity and executive assistants. So the number of conversations will be lower than if we go after small to mid-sized businesses where the CEO or the owners are more readily available. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it really varies. The data is all across the board.
Great. Yep. So one of the things that's critical to being successful at cold calling is getting a direct dial number or a mobile number. So Nancy, what are the best strategies for getting a direct dial number or a cell phone number for a particular target?
Yeah, well, there's software out there or databases out there that can provide that. We subscribe to seamless.ai. What happens is we also subscribe to Data Axle, which is a subsidiary of Info USA, and their claim is they have the most accurate data. So we will run a list through Data Axle, and then we scrub it through seamless.ai. And I agree with you, getting a direct dial is really the best way. A mobile number, I'm on the fence with mobile because they don't know us. And some people, I think, might receive it as a personal intrusion. I know when I get calls on my mobile, I never take it if I don't know who they are. And I often delete the messages. But if I get a voice message via a direct dial number at business, I'm more apt to listen to it and potentially, call back.
For sure. And what's also kind of a good tip for people calling is it's always good to call 5 minutes before the hour, especially if it's somebody higher up in the organization, because oftentimes they've got a meeting scheduled at 10 o'clock a.m. Right. And if you call at 5 minutes to 10, they're expecting that call and they're going to pick up every call that comes in on the direct dial number and say hello. And it's like, oh, I can't talk right now. I'm waiting for a call. Hey, totally get that, Nancy. I was calling from da-da-da-da. Would love to schedule a time. What's a good time to call you back? And so that's actually a really good tip for getting a lot of conversations.
That is cool. Now, I never heard of that. You see what you taught me today?
I told you before we started recording that I'm smarter than I look, but you did not believe me. So, Nancy, before we part company, because we're going to come back and go deeper into the subject.
Okay.
How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Nancy Calabrese, Calabrese, or check out our website at oneofakindSales.com and schedule time to speak with me.
Nancy, you are one of a kind. Thanks so much for being on the show. Stay online as the show ends. We'll chat for a few minutes before we part company.
Okay, sure. It's my pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at nolimitselling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results.